World guesses Trump's next target. Greenland causes panic in Europe. Denmark warns the end of NATO. Trump's clear, he needs Greenland. Why is Trump risking NATO alliance for the island?
Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX Explained. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. Let's listen into what Donald Trump said after striking Venezuela and bringing back President Nicolas Maduro to the U.S.
I will say this about Greenland. We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you. You know what Denmark did recently?
Now listen to what he said a few hours later.
We need Greenland for national security. Not for minerals. We have so many sites for minerals and oil and everything. We have more oil than any other country in the world. We need Greenland for national security. And if you take a look at Greenland, you look up and down the coast, you have Russian and Chinese ships all over.
Not want, not desire, but need. Trump needs Greenland is what he said. Today, we're decoding the reasons and implications of this need. These reasons could be divided into 3 points. Greenland's strategic position, Thule Air Base and rare earth metals. First, let's understand a little bit about Greenland's government before diving into these 3 points. Denmark is a semi-autonomous Danish territory which is part of NATO through Denmark's membership. Denmark colonized Greenland more than 300 years ago. Greenland got home rule in 1979, giving the population control over most of its internal affairs. Since 2009, Greenlanders have had the right to hold a referendum on independence. Denmark controls Greenland's foreign policy, defense and other aspects of its governance, and the island is still largely economically dependent on Denmark. Let's take a look at its location. Greenland's position is deeply strategic for the United States because it sits at the crossroads of the North Atlantic and the Arctic, directly between North America and Europe and along emerging Arctic shipping routes that are opening as sea ice melts. Its location gives the US a critical advantage point for early warning missile detection and radar surveillance, anchored by the long-standing Thule Air Base, which monitors activity across the Arctic and over Russian control and influence in Greenland. Also strengthens the US presence in the GI-UK gap. That's Greenland, Iceland, UK, a vital naval choke point for tracking Russian submarines entering the Atlantic. Moreover, Greenland also hosts Pitufik Space, formerly known as Thule Air Base, the US's military northernmost installation, which plays a critical role in missile warning, ballistic missile defense, and space surveillance. Its position near potential polar flight and missile paths makes it central to US homeland defense. A 1951 agreement between the US and Denmark gave the US the right to move around freely and construct military bases in Greenland as long as Denmark and Greenland are notified. Now, the third point why Trump needs Greenland. The island, whose capital Nuuk is closer to New York than the Danish capital Copenhagen, boasts mineral, oil and natural gas wealth. Greenland hosts several major rare earth deposits, mostly concentrated in the mineral-rich Garda province in the south. The largest and most well-known is the Kvanefjeld deposit near Narsak, considered one of the world's biggest resources. Of Ree. Nearby projects include Tunbridge and Kringlerud, both rich in elements like neodymium and cerium. These locations make Greenland a key potential supplier of rare earths used in electric vehicles, wind turbines, electronics and defense technologies. According to a 2023 survey by the Geological Survey of Denmark and Greenland, 25 of 34 minerals deemed critical raw materials by the European Commission were found in the island. They include graphite, lithium, as well as rare earth elements used in electric vehicles. Some scientists say that parts of Greenland's continental shelf could hold some of the largest undiscovered oil and gas deposits in the Arctic. But Greenland's government formally abandoned its oil ambitions in 2021, citing environmental risks and a lack of commercial viability. Greenland also has taken legal steps to limit the potential for environmentally destructive mining practices, including a 2021 ban on uranium mining. Such measures could be overturned if the US acquired the territory. This resulted in its economy being reliant on fishing, which accounts for over 95% of exports. It's also dependent on annual subsidies from Denmark, which cover roughly half the island's public budget. But as Trump is repeating his threats to take over Greenland, Denmark is moving to strengthen its military presence around Greenland and in the wider North Atlantic. Last year, the government announced a roughly $2.3 billion agreement with parties including the government of Greenland and the Faroe Islands, another self-governing territory of Denmark, to improve capabilities for surveillance and maintaining sovereignty in the region. The increasing presence of China and Russia pose a threat to the US. In 2018, China declared itself a near-Arctic state in an effort to gain more influence in the region. China has also announced plans to build a polar Silk Road as part of its Global Belt and Road Initiative, which has created economic links with countries around the world. For NATO as well, Greenland becomes important due to the Greenland-Iceland-UK gap, an area of the northern Atlantic Ocean forming a critical passage for vessels moving between the Atlantic Ocean and the Arctic, as well as between North America and Europe. Controlling this strategic transit route allows NATO to monitor and regulate maritime traffic, ensuring that essential sea lanes remain open and secure, and to detect and deter possible underwater and subsurface threats, including more frequent Russian hybrid threats. In the event of conflict, the gap would facilitate the rapid deployment of NATO forces across the Atlantic. Now, European leaders have issued a joint statement underscoring the strategic importance of Arctic security and reaffirming that Greenland's future rests solely with its people in the Kingdom of Denmark. Amidst growing geopolitical competition in the region, the leaders made an explicit assertion on Greenland's political status, stating that the territory belongs to its people and that decisions concerning Greenland can only be taken by Denmark and Greenland themselves. Let's listen in to what the UK Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper said on this matter.
The House will have seen recent comments from the United States and from Denmark regarding Greenland. Let me be very clear on the UK position. Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. Our close European partners, our long-standing NATO allies, and all our countries work closely together on security issues and will always do so. The future of Greenland is a matter for the Greenlanders and Danes and no one else.
In the end, Trump's persistent interest in Greenland reflects far more than a passing fascination. It underscores how the Arctic has become a new frontier of great power competition. With its proximity to the Arctic sea routes, vast natural resources and pivotal role in North Atlantic security, Greenland represents strategic leverage in a rapidly changing geopolitical landscape. Trump's rhetoric and diplomatic moves signal a belief that US influence in the Arctic must expand to counter China and Russia, even if that ambition clashes with diplomatic norms and Danish and Greenlandic sovereignty. Whether realistic or not, his focus on Greenland has forced the world to confront just how valuable and contested the Arctic has become.
World guesses Trump's next target. Greenland causes panic in Europe. Denmark warns the end of NATO. Trump's clear. He needs Greenland. Why is Trump risking NATO alliance for the island?